Senator Paul, you do not know what you are talking about, quite frankly, and I want to say that officially. You do not know what you are talking about.
And we read him the actual definition, the NIH definition of gain of function. And if he wanted to be a dispassionate scientist, if he wanted to be more level-headed, he could have tried to respond to the NIH definition and told us specifically how it doesn't apply. Instead, his emotions got the better of him.
And you are implying that what we did was responsible for the deaths of individuals. I totally resent that. And if anybody is lying here, Senator, it is you.
It's important for the public to know that Dr. Fauci is not a disinterested player. He's not objective. He has a self-interest in making sure that no one believes this came from the lab, because he would have blame attached to him for funding that lab. Well, we gave him every chance to retract his statement or modify his statement. His statement was that the NIH has never funded gain-of-function research in Wuhan. Dr. Fauci, knowing that it is a crime to lie to Congress, do you wish to retract your statement of May 11th where you claimed that the NIH never funded gain-of-function research in Wuhan?
Senator Paul, I have never lied before the Congress, and I do not retract that statement. The NIH has not ever and does not now fund gain-of-function research in the Wuhan Institute.
So we showed him the evidence. The evidence is the research from 2017. In the paper that we presented by Dr. Shi, that is from a peer-reviewed journal, she actually acknowledges the funding and lists the actual routing number for the grant she got. So on the first question of whether or not the NIH funded Wuhan, without question they did. And there's a question of whether or not that continues to this day, whether it's going through a subsidiary, this Eco Health Alliance, whether or not they're still sending money to Wuhan. Jake Tapper halfway challenged him last week when he asked Dr. Fauci about, would you continue to do this? And Dr. Fauci's answer is, oh, we've always had safeguards and we will always have safeguards.
Given that the Chinese government won't allow any real investigation, do you still think the U.S. government should collaborate with labs like Wuhan, especially on research that experts consider risky?
Well, we have always been very careful, and looking forward, we will continue to be very careful in what we do.
He didn't answer the question. Do you still trust the Chinese? Senator Kennedy asked him the same question in a hearing in the last couple of weeks.
So you don't think the Chinese would lie to you?
And he dances around the subject. He's still for funding the lab in Wuhan. And the thing is, to me, that shows colossal lack of judgment. I mean, 4 million people have died. So we quoted a very specific paper to him from 2017 from Dr. Shi. So she took an unknown virus with unknown lethality, and she combined it with a known virus with a 15% mortality. And then she discovered that, yes, indeed, this new virus that she created in the lab could infect human cells and damage primate cells. I think it was hard for me to believe that he would deny it in front of the world, because it so obviously is gain-of-function research that anybody with ears to hear, anybody with eyes to see can tell that the research there was the kind of dangerous research that really, even at the NIH, they discussed in 2014, they had a pause. They discussed stopping this. The media is really taking his side. When he goes on television, the left-wing media basically gives him a pass. They yuck it up and laugh and talk about this and that, but nobody ever asks him a tough question, and he gets by with this. But he's really dangerous to the country.
Dr. Fauci.
Dr. Fauci.
Dr. Anthony Fauci.
Dr. Anthony Fauci.
Dr. Fauci, thank you so much for being here.
Certainly a passionate response from Dr. Fauci today.
Well, the true mark of someone is if they look good, even when their personal emails come out. So you passed the test that very few of us would pass.
News sources like Associated Press that were once objective, if you read their reporting of this, you'll see that it's all completely biased and one-sided and only quotes from his side of the story. How you can say that is not gain of function?
It is not.
It's a dance, and you're dancing around this because you're trying to obscure responsibility. And I will be sending a letter to the Department of Justice asking for a criminal referral because he has lied to Congress. We have scientists that will line up by the dozens to say that the research he was funding was gain of function. He's doing this because he has a self-interest to cover his tracks and to cover his connection to Wuhan lab. I think this Department of Justice will be partisan in the sense that they will do the bidding, the political bidding of President Biden. It's important for people to know it's a crime to lie, and it's important to know that at least a significant portion of us on our side of the aisle do believe that he's lying. He's one very eagerly in the middle of this, and when you look at the private emails, you see that he was in a very urgent and frightened fashion trying to cover up January 31st of last year when he first heard about this. So yeah, there's something there, and it would be a mistake for us to let it drop.
So once again, Centers for Disease Control has changed its guidance on masks and COVID.
So they're now recommending those in high or substantial virus transmission areas, even those who are fully vaccinated, wear a mask again.
The children are in school, and in order to keep them safe in that setting, given the changing situation that has occurred, that's why the recommendation to keep everybody masked when you're dealing with school, even if you're vaccinated.
Dr. Fauci's advice for kids to wear a mask is about as logical as kids wearing lightning protectors. So we could develop special helmets to deflect lightning from kids. The death rate is about 1 in a million for lightning, or maybe a little bit less, and the death rate from COVID is about 1 in a million for children. So no, it's complete overreach. These Dr. Fauci-led control freaks have, had our kids wearing masks while running track. There's absolutely no science in support of that. It's a disaster, it's a disservice to our kids, but it's all coming from people like Dr. Fauci, elitists who don't care about your individual liberty. They only care about you conforming and submitting to his will. Well, I'm glad you're here watching my video on YouTube. The fact is, I don't know how long this will be up, since YouTube has decided to start censoring me and pulling down my videos. But don't worry, you can watch this video on rumble.com/RandPaul, where I post all of my content. Love to see you over at rumble.com.